I would like to invite my colleague Paivi Kannisto. She's the Senior Gender Advisor, Government of Finland. The power to create change. Talk to us. Yes, it's on.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I come from a government, and I have been listening here lots of messages to the government, so I've been carefully keeping my ears open. Thank you for that. As this is the title is women's rights, I wanted to start a little bit telling about Finnish example. In 1906, Finland gave a right to vote and right to stand as candidates for both women and men. And that was the first time in the world when a country gave right to stand as candidate also for women. And in the first elections in 1907, 19 women were selected to the parliament out of the 200 representatives. And I'm just saying, after that, a lot of legislations were changed. There were legislation to improve women's possibility to work, to be appointed to government positions, to maternity benefits, maternal clinics, and there were lots of changes for women's rights at that time. And as you have heard, currently Finland has about half of the workforce women, half of the taxpayers are women, and I would say half of our economy comes from women. We need both contribution from both women and men. We would just be half of everything if we wouldn't have both women and men there. But the legislation and the rights were the starting point. They were necessary. It was necessary to have that before the change could take. And I must say now when we are in Beijing meeting, this maybe the process that was going on in Finland, it produced something I think valuable for what led to Beijing and what has brought us here. It's Helvi Sipilä grew up in that Finland. And she started that with other people that process in the United Nations. I think Beijing was very visionary, and it is a pity it's not fully implemented. But I would say now when we have a post-2015, this is our best chance now to promote the implementation. Like Dr. Laszlo said, the time has come. I think this is the time now. And for Finland, gender equality is a priority in post-2015 agenda. We have heard gender equality is now included in the proposal that is there, where the actual negotiations will start next spring. I tell one of what worries me personally, I think the post-2015 agenda includes gender in spots where it has always been. So I don't think there is anything dramatically new in that. It's mentioned in small-scale farmers, it's mentioned in sexual and reproductive health, it's mentioned in it's mentioned in standard reducing violence, and especially violence against women. I think it should be also mentioned and strongly included where it is not normally, where it isn't, like industrialization. How about energy, environment? Climate change has a kind of dash of gender equality there. Peace and security, I'm surprised it's not more included in that part. So I think this is something I would ask a civil society to keep their eyes and ears open and really look that it's in the right places there. Then one issue is also in that post-2015 agenda that it strongly mentions at this moment each country is responsible for its own development, and the goals concern all countries. So I also hope civil society is alert at this point. So every country has the responsibility for their own development. And then for implementation, there have been calls for sufficient funding. And there was an expert group on sustainable development financing that produced reports. And I realized they are not going to look at separate funding for different goals. They are just looking at where the resources are. But I think we need now a new kind of thinking to be able to promote gender equality. We need to look at, for example, in global trade, what can it do to promote gender equality? We need to look at taxes, natural resources income, innovation funds, climate funds, official development assistance, private financing. All this we need to look at and see how it functions in such a way that it rather promotes gender equality than does harm to it. So that's my call for civil society. Please work with us governments to promote this agenda.
Thank you. You are really challenging us, and challenging us big time in terms of the conversations for the next 3 days as we come to the official meeting, to the intergovernmental meeting.